That's a bit later, and now a survey in the United States has found that 49% of those asked say America should, quote, mind its own business in the world. However, another 44% said their country is most powerful in the world and should, quote, go its own way, no matter what anyone else thinks. Well, RT's Priya Sridhar is in our Washington studio, and we'll discuss this seeming polarization of American opinion with anti-war campaigner Sean Bowen. Hello, now to you, Priya.
Hi there. So I think the big question is, what do these numbers really mean? Do more Americans want President Obama to stop focusing on foreign issues and start focusing on fixing problems here at home? Well, joining me to help discuss that is Sean Bowen from Young Americans for Liberty. Sean, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, I want to ask you, why do you think for the first time in many decades, more Americans want to stop intervening abroad?
Well, they've seen what's happened with the economy. They see the gross expansion of federal power. They see all this stuff coming down, and they're able to see that it's because of our expansiveness, that because of our empire, that it's starting to cost them in their pocket more. They're seeing, with bank bailouts and stuff like that, that the economy's not getting any better, and yet we're still giving aid out, we're still doing all this other stuff internationally while people at home are still hurting.
And, I mean, do you think this also could be a sign that maybe Americans are starting to reevaluate the position of their own country in this world? Maybe America isn't the only superpower anymore. There was another poll that found that 44% of Americans said that China had the biggest or the most powerful economy in the world, and only 27% of Americans thought the United States had the most powerful economy. I mean, do you think this is a sign that maybe they're reevaluating things?
Well, it shows that America has lost its competitive edge. I mean, as you said, America and Americans are noticing it. China's economy is continuously growing while ours is shrinking, and it's not uncommon knowledge for people to know that. I mean, it's out there, and everybody's able to see as China is getting bigger and bigger. America seems to be pushing more to the wayside, and anymore to subsidize all of the stuff that we need to do, we've been asking China for money. I mean, before, we used to be the ones who were loaning out money. At the end of World War II, it was us with the Marshall Plan, and we helped rebuild Europe. Yet now, we go to Europe, we go to China, we go to Saudi Arabia, we go to Argentina, we go everywhere to ask for money to help support us.
And, another interesting thing about that initial poll we were talking about is that the foreign policy makers still think that the United States is one of the leaders and they should still intervene abroad. What's causing this disconnect between the foreign policy makers and the general American public?
Well, this is a common theme that happens between people in power and those who elect them. It's happened throughout history. It happened in ancient Greece. These people use their foreign policy as a political tool. It's a way for them to build up national fervor. There's those guys out there that are causing danger to us. So we need to go out and go and get them. That's why we see military interventionism everywhere. That's with Barack Obama just putting in 30,000 more troops into Afghanistan. That was hugely unpopular. I believe there's only 30% in recent polls that actually support the Afghanistan war, and yet he's increasing it. And this is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. It's for some reason politicians like to think that an interventionist foreign policy gets them votes, and I don't know why.
And do you think those policymakers will ever catch up with American public opinion, or will there always be this kind of disconnect?
They'll be forced to. I mean, as our debt keeps growing higher, as the country itself starts to unravel because of our debt obligations to other countries. I mean, once the money's cut off, there's nothing they can do, and so they'll be forced to either figure out new ways of getting money for it. But I doubt anybody's going to be getting us loans. And if we print more money, that's going to be even more. The inflation rate will cause even more unpopular policies. So it's not whether or not they're going to come in line with the people. There's a harsh reality that they're going to have to face, that America can't be an empire anymore. We have I believe it's like 150 bases out of the 190 countries that there are we have bases in 150 countries.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see if those numbers do catch up with the foreign policy makers. But for now, it's back to you guys in Moscow.
Well, thank you very much, Priya. We'll get back to you as the story develops.